What's up everyone, I am Tim Oates on bass, and this video is about how playing a straightforward song doesn't necessarily mean you're playing a simple song. This video is going to be a full breakdown of the song Vanity Self-Loathing by Penny Coffin, which is one of the bands that I'm in. And the reason I chose this song is because when I first learned it, when I first joined the band, my immediate thought was, okay, this is pretty straightforward. In fact, most of the songs in Penny Coffin, I would say, are straightforward. But what I came to find out is just because it's a straightforward song doesn't mean it was simple. In fact, this song is probably the song that I have the most stress about when playing live. And I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to explain why I get stressed out and kind of point out all the parts that, again, straightforward, but not simple by any means. At the intro. Even though I don't play on the intro, it is going to be needed, so I want to go ahead and just run through it real quick. Okay, so this line, it's very quick. There's a couple of hammer-ons in there, and the finger position is all kind of in that standard minor configuration, right? So 2nd fret, 3rd fret, going back and forth between the low D and the A string. So that's it slowed down. You can kind of see the way the fingers move. It's bouncing back and forth between the strings with the hammer-ons mixed in there. And the reason I wanted to point this out, even though I don't actually play this line until the interlude, is because the verse is very similar, and you'll notice when I play that my fingers are actually doing kind of a very similar motion, so it's easy to get mixed up. In fact, when I was learning the song, I would often get mixed up between the parts. Let me show it to you at speed, and then I'll slow it down. So you can see that it's different, but it's very similar. A few things probably to point out is the hammer-on at the beginning of the line is the same. Right, so all the way up until there is the same, but instead of doing on the A string the hammer-on from the B to C, which is in the intro, it's actually just stepping down into the F. So instead of it goes, and that's on the first go. The next one, then it actually does it extends that down to the E. So you're bouncing back and forth between and. The other thing too is at no point does it go into the kind of full walk down transition that the intro has. So it doesn't do that at all during the verse. It just bounces between the. They're different enough that it actually sounds very different when you're listening to the song. But what I found is that when I was learning the song, I was switching up the parts very easily. I actually had to think much more about the individual parts I was playing simply because they were so similar. Of course, now I've been playing the song for a while, so it's much easier, but to get to that point, I had to really concentrate between the parts. Okay, so that's the intro and the verse. Now, the pre-chorus, so on the record, it's actually the intro line again. But I can't play that. And the reason is because I'm actually providing some of the vocals live. So when I play it live, I have to do a different variation. The reality is the other two singers in the band are much more talented. They're able to play lines like this and sing. I am not. In fact, I actually don't consider myself a singer, but it's one of those things that I need to provide vocals in order to keep the song moving forward. So because the vocals were such a critical part and I am able to pull them off, I had to actually adjust my bass line so that I could play and sing at the same time. So to simplify it down, what I actually did is very, very different, simplified down greatly, but it was a sacrifice that I had to make in order to be able to contribute to the song as a whole. And so that one, if you're listening to the song, I do play it different, and That's the reason behind it. And sometimes you have to make those choices when you write a line and all of a sudden there's other factors like having to provide vocals. All right, so next up with the chorus, it's pretty straightforward. It's just chords with kind of a fill at the end that creates a melody or a turnaround. It's just shadowing. There's nothing particularly difficult about it. So with the chorus, it plays through that line, it goes through 4 times, and then at the end, it kind of has this extended transition, and it makes a lot of sense with the way the vocals are laid out. But when you're playing by yourself, it's easy to kind of lose count because you're going through 4 times on the chorus line, but then you're kind of cutting the last one off and going through this transition 4 times. So all right, so next up is the interlude back to the verse. It's the same as the intro line, so don't need to go through that again. Then it goes through another verse and a chorus. And then instead of going into an interlude after the chorus, it goes into the bridge. So the bridge is going to have the drive of the verse and a little bit of a similar feel, but definitely has more groove. And then at the end, as it transitions back into the chorus to finish out the song, it's got this like little mini bass solo. So it's a cool line. I'll play it at speed, then slow it down. That's the full bridge. I'll slow it down. The first part is just kind of a simple walk down on the 7, 5, and 3. So it just goes through that, and then the transitions. Slide up to the 10, walk up on the open 2 and 3. All of that, like I said, pretty straightforward. But then the transition part, this one, it's pretty quick. But it's a lot of fun to play, but I'm always a little stressed out going into it because all the focus is on me, and if I blow it, everyone's gonna know. I can't hide it in the mix. So I play this a little bit different than the way it's played on the album, but not much. I think our note choices are slightly different, but I'm matching the drive and the feel and the flow. So it starts off on a triplet hammer-on pull-off, on the G string, 5 and 7. And then it literally just walks down the scale. So then coming out of the bridge, it goes back into the chorus, same exact chorus, and then the outro is literally just the first half of the main tagline, the intro line, and then an open D. And that's it. That's how the song ends. All right, so that's how you play the song. And like I mentioned, this song actually provides the most stress for me out of any of the songs we play with For Penny Coffin. And it's not because the song is necessarily difficult to play, but it's all of the other factors. We start the song, and as soon as we get into it, I'm immediately thinking forward to the pre-chorus and my vocal lines. It's actually the vocals that gives me stress because I don't consider myself a singer. It's a call and response, and I'm providing the response, so it's just my voice in the response. And I've got to dumb down my bass line so I can play because I'm not that skilled of a player and singer at the same time. It's something I'm working on, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on in this project because it's definitely a weak spot for me, but it still gives me stress. All right, so we get through the first verse, the pre-chorus. I hit my lines, or not. I've blown them on stage before. And then the chorus is usually pretty easy. I can kind of take the chorus to settle back down from the stress of the vocals, but then we're back into the verse, back into the stress of my vocals in the pre-chorus. I get to the chorus, and I'm then thinking forward to the bridge because I've got the solo line. And again, the solo line isn't necessarily the most difficult to play, but it's because it's a solo. If I blow it, everyone knows it's me. I can't hide myself in the mix. So then I'm stressed out going into that. Hit the solo line. Luckily, I haven't blown that one on stage yet. It's just the vocals. Once we get through there and we're into the chorus, then like I'll finally kind of calm down. I'll be like, okay, I'm good to go. But this song is the first of a 4-song stretch, the way that we play our set now. So there's also that underlying stress there of knowing that we're going into that stretch. It's usually not a problem. We practice it like this every time with no breaks just to make sure that we're solid when we're playing it. But there's still always that little bit of an underlying fear of what if there's a tech issue, what if my fingers cramp up, things like that. Because those breaks in between songs when you're playing live can really be valuable to work out some of those kinks, turn around, tell the drummer don't start, like I need 2 minutes to figure out a wiring issue or whatever happens, right? But we don't get that. We're doing four songs back to back, and it plays great with the audience. And that energy of just going back to back to back to back, the audience loves it. We usually get great response during that section. So again, the song itself, it's straightforward. None of the parts are particularly hard, still not necessarily simple, and for me personally, stressful song. All right, there is a full playthrough video if you want to play along, get some extra practice, learn a new song that you haven't been exposed to before. I think playing along to new songs is always a great way to get some practice. If you want to check out any For Penny Coffin material, there'll be links for streaming and download services and all that in the description. If you got some value out of this video, please give it a like. If you have any thoughts or comments, feedback, make sure you drop a comment. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell so you get notified when I post new videos. Keep making beautiful music, and I'll see you in the next video.